What's good, travelers? Welcome to another video where I speak in English. And actually, just a heads up, I plan on speaking English from now on in most of my videos. Most of you are learning English anyway, and if not, you speak English as your first language and you're getting to know my channel, which is my plan all along. So yeah, thank you for watching. Anyway, I'm planning on making videos in English from now on, but let's get to the actual video. In the video most of you know me from, which is how I became a polyglot at 17, I explained that I am very bad at studying on my own, right? So that's why I get a lot of tutors, a lot of courses, and that works, right? But most people want to study on their own, either because they can't afford a tutor, or they don't like a tutor, or they can't find a good tutor. Everyone has their own reasons. And from not being able to study on my own, I learned a lot of stuff to avoid and what you should do to keep studying on your own. And I'm actually going to use these tips that I'm telling you now after my French ends, because this is my last month of having French classes, and I'm gonna have to study from B2 to C1 all on my own. So yeah, I'm gonna have to study on my own. So yeah, let's get started into the actual tips. I think my intro is already way too long. So the first tip is to make yourself a study space. A small office, if you will. If you're studying alone, you're probably going to study at home. And at home, there's literally everything you own. And usually your phone or any electronic you have is right there. The best example I can think of right now is the Nintendo Switch I use as a prop for my background. Why would I study French if I have Zelda Tears of the Kingdom right here? You know, like, why would I study? The best game of 2023 is right here. So you know what I mean? It's very hard to focus if you have so many distractions. My notebook is right there, and I could watch like the giant playlist of YouTube videos that I have separated for me. I have the sketchbook I use to draw. I'm not very good at drawing, so I'm not showing the drawings. Anyway, I have a lot of distractions in this table. So if you study, you have to organize the space so you can focus. For example, getting this Nintendo Switch out of here. Put it in your bathroom, I don't know. The phone that I can't really show you because I use it to record a video, just shove it on a drawer or something, I don't know. And also organize your space, because this is a mess right now. But it's just because, it's because of the video, okay? It's not usually like this. So no, only put in your table things you need. I have like, I don't remember the name of this in English. I think it's a mechanical pencil. I have my mechanical pencil in here, my eraser, I dropped my eraser. My eraser, some pens, and that's it. I don't need anything else. Just put it to the side. If you're feeling really bold, a drink. So yeah, that step is very important because it's very easy to get distracted, especially at our age where TikTok corroded our brain and we can't think straight for more than 12 seconds before checking the phone. If you have ADHD, the problem's even bigger. I don't, so I'm safe, but you know, if you do, you should definitely use this tip that I'm giving you. Let's go to our second subject. So as you can see with that very subtle cutaway, we're gonna talk about planners. I don't have a planner right here that I can show you because I use Notion. This is not publicity, by the way. I just think Notion is very good. There's two apps that Notion has. Notion, just Notion, regular Notion, and Notion Calendar. I use Notion Calendar. Notion has some very good tools to do some planning, but for myself, I think the only good tool that regular Notion has is the checklist feature. And I don't know, just the checklist, I could just write a checklist. I don't need an app just for the checklist. But Notion Calendar I think is very good because it shows me the days that I have to do certain stuff. Remember, I study 2 languages at the same time, so you know, it's important to balance them out. At what time I have to study, since you know I have a lot of stuff to do, such as recording and editing videos, going to school since I still have the last year of high school to go through. Only 40 days left though, so yeah, that's a good thing. Separating the times on where I'm allowed to take a break, you know, to rest. I think it's very good. Let me pull out the one I did for last week, because this week we had a lot of holidays, so I kind of didn't plan anything for this week. So I got my iPad over here. Okay, so the iPad version of Notion isn't very good because they just take the phone UI and they just paste it on the iPad, but on your phone and on your computer, it's still good. So as you can see, I separated into times. So I wake up at 5 a.m. to do my Japanese homework. I take about an hour and a half to finish it. This little blue thing I separated is getting ready, so putting on my uniform and brushing my teeth and eating breakfast and stuff. And then at school, school takes a long time. I only get back from school like at 4. This is the travel time between the school and my house. And then this is some physical exercise, since you know we have to exercise at some point. And there's showering, and then there's a break. There's like a 1.5 hour break. And then there's my French class that takes 2 hours. Then it finishes at 9, and then I just make the checklist for the next day to organize myself. Of course, that's my routine at certain days of the week. For example, at Tuesdays, it's slightly different since I have Japanese class. Therefore, I don't need to do Japanese homework. So instead of waking up at 5, I wake up at 6. I go straight to school. But once I come back, I don't actually do any physical exercise. I just go straight to my Japanese class. But yeah, I have French class every day, so that doesn't change. I'm gonna do a routine video, actually, explaining the whole routine. So, you know, don't worry. So yeah, I think planning is very valuable, especially if you study on your own, because there's nothing forcing you to get out of your way to study. You know, there's not gonna be any reminders or on your phone, no teacher messaging you, so like where are you and stuff. There's not gonna be any of that. You're your own boss, you're your own planner, teacher, whatever. So you need to lock in and make a plan. And planning kind of sucks. I find it to be one of my worst soft skills. You're definitely gonna have to work on that if you're bad at planning, like I am. My next tip is, that's right, studying methods. Usually if you're at a course or at school, you don't have a lot of methods. You just write down some stuff and do the exercise that teacher asks you to. But if you're on your own, there's none of that. The plus is that you can do whatever you want. And the negative is that what the hell do you do, right? I have a lot of tips on my channel. You probably looked into some of them if you're a loyal follower. Oh yeah, I didn't even ask you to like pay the fee for the class. Anyway, just like, comment, and if you're not subscribed, you already know. Let's move on. If you study the usual way that people in classrooms study, you're gonna get bored pretty fast. And that's very bad. It's lethal. It kills your interest in the language. So it's very important that you vary it a little bit. I always say this tip in every single video, but language reactor, it's vital. Language reactor is one of the best things that ever happened to language learning, okay? So I made a video teaching you how to install it. So just check it out, okay? You can learn while watching some series you like, some animes, some videos. I don't know, I don't care. Write down some of the vocab you don't understand. Read some books. Here's a novel I got from Liberdade here. Liberdade is the little Japanese settlement we have here in Brazil. For those who don't know, since now not everyone here is Brazilian, right? So I have to actually explain stuff. Get some textbooks if you want. I think those are very fun, especially for Japanese specifically. Download some apps. There's like this game, I forgot the name of it now. There's a lot of games online that you can play. You can watch your favorite YouTuber talk about language learning. You know, the Stardew Valley that I have on my Nintendo Switch is in French, for example. Most of the Pokemon games I play from now on, right, since I'm not deleting all of my progress just to change the language. Most of the Pokemon games on my console are in French right now. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can do to help you progress into your language learning. You don't have to stick to textbooks all of the time. I do think it's important to review it sometimes. You could get a friend to learn it with you so you can practice talking and speaking and stuff. And I think that's pretty good, pretty useful. The only friend I have that I actually got into learning languages learned Korean, which I don't study, so that kind of pissed me off, so I couldn't really benefit from that, but maybe you could. So yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff that you can do. Let's go to the next point. Setting realistic goals, it's very important. In the video that I explained how you get those fancy papers over here, I said that having those as a goal, it's a very good goal to have. But sometimes you need something more specific. My objective in every language I study is being able to maintain a good conversation with someone. But that's usually an end goal. Throughout your studying process, where the final goal is being able to talk with someone with no misunderstandings and stuff, you have to have small goals through that whole process. And those small goals can go learning school vocabulary. We always learn those when we learn a new language, right? Or learning the fruits and vegetables and food and stuff, or even getting a particular grade on getting a good grade on a test. I guess that's enough, right? Those small goals are really important to motivate you, and for you to know what you need to do, right? Because studying a language is like having this large field, but which path you take, like what direction you go on that large field. If you define where do you want to go on that field, it's easier to carve a path. I'm such a poet. Oh my god, I'm such a poet. My small goals are usually getting those tests, getting those certificates, right? But yours can be a little bit different. I can't give you any tips since you're the one who knows why you want to study a language for, so you know, you're gonna have to define your own goals. But yeah, I think it's very important. It's very important that you avoid burnout at all costs. I think everybody here knows what burnout is, but I'm gonna explain it anyway. It's when you do the same effort over and over and over again until it gets so stressful and impossible that you can't even do that effort anymore. That usually happens to the kaisha in Japan, the big company workers over there, or some artists that think they can draw like a whole manga on their own. Yeah, that happens sometimes. But that can happen to you too. And if you burn out, it's over. It's over because you're not gonna recover until after a couple of months. And a couple of months without studying will kill all of your progress. So study every day, but be careful, okay? The best technique I can think of is Pomodoro. I don't know if it has the same name in English, but I'm going to explain it. And then you can tell me the name of the technique in the comments, because I don't really know. But you define the amount of minutes you're going to study for and the amount of minutes you're going to rest for. So let's say you're going to have a study session of 2 hours. You could study for 45 minutes, rest for half an hour, and then study for the remaining 45 minutes, and then you're finished. It's very important to know yourself, know your limits, and respect your body's limits, your mind's limits. If you go too far, you're gonna not be able to study anymore and you're gonna lose everything, so be careful. That happened to me in Japanese, actually. I didn't study for like 6 months. That's why it's been 3 years since I started studying Japanese, but I only say that I studied for 2.5 years because I took a big break. It's when I went to Canada. So yeah, be careful with burnout, okay? So let's move on. My next tip is immersion. Immersion is very important. It is very simple. It's surrounding yourself with the language. The best way of doing that is being on a country that uses that language, but obviously that's not always available. So here's some tips on how you can surround yourself with the language you're studying. First off is changing the language on everything, basically. Get your electronic, and let's say if you're between that beginner to intermediate level, but not intermediate yet, I think it's the perfect time to just change the language on everything. Your phone, your social media, your games, everything. Change the language on everything. Because if you use your phone and stuff, you're going to have to understand what you're actually doing. So, you know, you're gonna have to put some work in. You're basically forcing yourself to learn out of necessity. You should always try to listen to music in the language you study and also watch stuff in the language you study. I told you about Language Reactor, but even if you don't use Language Reactor because you're on your phone or iPad, because it's not really available for mobile, even if you're studying on those, try to watch stuff on the language you study with the subtitles on the language you study as well. Try to get friends that speak the language you're studying. You could always get into a Discord community, use an app like HelloTalk. I couldn't really make any friends on HelloTalk, so I don't really recommend it. I don't think it's very effective. Most people just ignore you. If you can't have a friend that speaks that language, you should try to get a friend that you know to study that language with you, so you too can speak in that language. Study either German or Korean, which are 2 languages I'm not studying, at least not yet, because I want to study German after I get finished with the 2 I'm studying right now. So yeah, for me, that didn't quite work out, but I have a lot of friends that speak Japanese, so at least I have friends that speak a language I'm studying, right? But yeah, for French, I guess I just have to do whatever, right? I have to try to find a person online. At least my mom studies French, so she can speak in French with me. So yeah, those are my tips for immersion. So yeah guys, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to speed up your language learning process, I have 3 planners that I made, one for each language that I study: Japanese, French, and English. If you're a native speaker that came across my channel, obviously you don't need to check out the English one, but I still heavily recommend you check the French and Japanese one, because those are very good. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't, and that's it. Bye!